Fest is back. The 2-day rock and roll party leading up to the original KISS cruise will be on October 27th and 28th in the City of Angels, Los Angeles, California. Proudly brought to you by KISS Rum, KISS Cold Gin, and Yamaha. Day 1 festivities will be a Bon Voyage party held at the host hotel, the Doubletree in San Pedro, hosted by the one and only DJ Noise. Party with your fellow cruisers while Noise spins the tunes and mingle with our special musical guests. Then stay for the Cruise Fest Comedy, Punchlines and Backlines comedy show produced and hosted by Courtney Cronin Dole. Featuring one of Hollywood's funniest rock and roll comedians, plus a KISS Army fan favorite headliner and a special guest rock star doing their first stand-up comedy set. Day 2 features a 5-band live show at the historic Yost Theater featuring tribute bands Fair Warning and Dress to Kill, along with the Iron Maidens and headliners Slaughter. Plus, a special performance by the original members of Fraley's Comet, Todd Howarth, John Regan, and world-renowned drummer Anton Fig. All this, plus charity raffles generously sponsored by Sixth Man. Don't miss this exciting event. Start your rock and roll vacation off at the only party in town, Cruise Fest. That's Cruise Fest with a K.
Friends, and welcome to episode 74 of the KISS Army Nation podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Pasquale Veri.
And I am Taurus Pera. Welcome to the show, everyone.
So once again, we are joined by our panel guests. Craig, I did my homework, Patton. Hey.
How's it going?
And Patrick, the rock star de Montigny.
How's it going, guys?
Welcome back to the show, boys.
Thanks.
So we're glad you guys haven't checked out from this podcast and keep coming back for more punishment. We really, really appreciate it.
It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it, really.
Same here. So it's always fun. It's always so exciting, to have you in the show. So like we do for all of our discussion panel episodes, we would like to start with the show with an off-the-topic question. Okay. So this time around, we want to know, what is your take on the recent announcement of the Creatures of the Night box set? So is the content in line with your expectations? Craig, Patton?
I think you know my answer on this one. I'm so happy this came out. I'm so happy that I saw that there's 2 live shows on there, which for me is really great. I mean, I've been waiting for this for a long time, and this is the era that I really like the most, except for the 76 to 77 there, but it's the area I really enjoy after the heydays. So for me, it's definitely all in.
As soon as I saw the announcement, I thought of you. I said, "Oh my God, Craig is going to be so happy." Patrick, what about you?
I'm very happy as well because I love Destroyer, and I'm glad they started off with those kinds of releases. But I think it's time to look maybe at other eras of KISS, and I think if there's one period that has been overlooked, it's this one, KISS as its heaviest. So I'm really happy with what they're doing. I think the packaging is like beyond my expectations. I think there's going to be some great stuff in there. Really interesting to look at, and and I can't wait to hold the booklet in my hand, and also like listening to the live parts. The demos, I'm not a demos person. I'm going to listen to it maybe twice, but that's it. But the rest, I'm very excited about it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Pask, what do you think?
I was excited about Destroyer, but I was very familiar with that particular era. I'm less familiar with the Creatures era. So I'm really excited about that box set. With Destroyer, to be honest, I was more excited about all the content and less so the music, because I've heard it all. But this one, except for the Chris Hoffman prints, which are going to look amazing, I'm more looking forward to the music, the rarities and the demos and all that, than the actual content. There's some amazing stuff that I don't think I've ever heard before from that particular era. And I heard that the 2 live CDs are basically compilations from the Creatures show from different venues. So it sounds like they took the best of this concert and put it together in one show. So I'm not sure we're going to get anything better than this as a full Creature show. So very excited about this particular project. Claudio?
Yeah, well, same here. I think, we the 4 of us agree. The excitement on this announcement and the content of the box is definitely something that we deserve, as KISS fans. And this era specifically, as Pat and Craig pointed out, this is something long overdue for the fans, to go deep into that era with Eric, with Vinnie Vincent. There are so many Vinnie Vincent fans there, because of his writing style and the music. So, I think we're getting there, guys. So with the latest release of the soundboard, at least the announcement, of the 77 show, plus this box set, yeah, it feels good to be a KISS fan these days. It's awesome. It's awesome. Love it.
All right. So speaking of being a KISS fan, let's move on to our topic. We've noticed in our fan profile episodes that many fans seem to check out of their fandom at particular moments in time. We thought it would be fun to discuss those moments when fans are more likely to check out and the moments when they tend to come back.
So in this episode, it will be divided into 3 parts. So first, we will talk about when we checked out and then returned. Then we will look at fan comments on their checking out experiences. And we will conclude the episode with the question, are fans more likely to check out at the end of the road? Sometimes the end of the road, it's related to, wrapping up something, some fandom or story. Is this going to be the case with KISS? So let's get going, Pask.
Okay, so the obvious first question is, for us, when did you check out and why? We'll start with Patrick.
I don't know if we can say check out, but definitely in 2001, I sort of questioned my fandom towards KISS, in the sense that with the makeup, applying makeup to different people, I don't want to debate on that, but it kind of made me wonder, like I didn't agree with it. And for a while I needed to, it's my interest started to wane a little bit. I remained a fan, but I had a hard time with that. What brought me back, if I can say that, was that I realized that it was in my heart nonetheless, and that while I didn't have to agree with what was going on, now I still can enjoy it for what it is. So in a sense, that's the only time I can say I sort of checked out, like even through the years, like which people may not like Animalize, Asylum and all that, or I was still with them. So, but the 2001 thing made me go, but when it's in your heart, you can't help it. You always go back home. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Craig?
Yeah, I checked it around the same time. I checked out around the just after the Lick It Up album. I had different interest. At that point, it wasn't the same for me as the heyday for Kiss. I mean, look it up. It was a great album, but after that, Asylum and Crazy Nights and Animalize, they weren't any of my favorites. I mean, I still like Pat. I was still a fan, but I was not. I was a casual fan. I wasn't the hardcore guy. I got other interests with Scorpions, Judas Priest, Dio, stuff like that, and that's basically when it waned for me. It's I just lost it. Although I was still a fan, I just lost interest. Other things were happening that were more exciting, you know.
Okay, Claudia.
I can say that I definitely checked out from the band temporarily after the farewell tour. So in the 2000, I can give you the exact period. I have to say that maybe between 2000 and 2005 or 4, let's say, I was kind of disconnected from the band. And I do recall that the band actually was not offering many things during that era, So the symphony was the big thing, that they were doing something new. But it was a big disappointment with the farewell tour, and then the original guys, breaking up again. And again, no new music, and there was nothing interesting for me on the table to offer. And I have to say that the 80s, and I would like to mention this, as we all know, we discussed this many times. In Argentina, we got to know Kiss, deeply into 79, 80. So to me, the 80s, even though it was not the original lineup and there was no makeup, it was really exciting still. Every Kiss record that was released, it was expecting, big expectations from the people. So to me, I didn't even suffer, of Peter Criss leaving the band. So Eric was really welcomed for me. So the 80s, yeah, I digged it. It's not my favorite era, but I really liked it. I never checked out during that time. But definitely 2000 to 2004, it was a big low for me, big low.
So in my case, I didn't break up because of the band or because of the music. I sort of checked out for personal reasons. I was going through a personal change. So back in the day, I was considered a troublemaker, a bully, most likely to go to prison. I'm going nowhere, and people led me to believe that the problem was my love for the band. And I came to a point in my life when I want to change. I want to turn my life around. So I felt the only way I could do that was sort of to discard the cause of my problem, which again, I believe was Kiss.
The evil.
The evil, Satan's Knights in Satan's service. But I ended up checking out around just after the Unmasked album. And I remember going to the Dynasty show and loving it. And I told myself, I am never going to check out. I'm always going to love this band forever and ever. Then one album later, I ended up checking out. And I remember when I bought that album, I thought, this is not Kiss. And I remember Eric Carr coming into the band and wanted to know everything about him. So my interest was still there, but it didn't help that I wasn't crazy about the music of Unmasked, but that wasn't the reason I checked out. I checked out, happened to check out at that time because it was time to turn things around. And I was still into music. I liked, Van Halen and April Wine, but I was also very into the top 40s in the 80s, top 40 dance music, very poppy bubblegum music, I
think we all went through that.
Yeah.
So, and those people, if I may ask you, those people that made you believe that Kiss was the cause of your problems, were they happy when basically you checked out from the band?
Oh, I don't know if they were happy. I remember the general notion that people were trying to tell me Kiss was the problem. Because you know, I didn't do my schoolwork because I was so focused on Kiss. I remember art class, I was asked to draw something and I drew Kiss. I drew Kiss all over my copybooks. It was Kiss, 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 Kiss.
Yeah.
So people thought I'm not focused on anything but Kiss, and that is my problem. And if I were to focus on something else, hence my life, I would be in a better place.
Okay.
Totally ridiculous.
And they were wrong.
Damn right they were wrong.
So wrong. So we talked about you know, what made us kind of check out during a certain period. So now let's talk about what brought you back. Craig, what brought you back to the band?
I think putting the makeup back on brought me back full force. I was always a big fan of that. It's just theatrics for me. It's the stage show. It's the personas. It's for me. It's the magic is back, right? It's that was all the hype at that time, right? We're back together, and the legends live, and you know how the whole story went, right? Mm-hmm. And that would definitely was for me when it brought back a lot of memories, and it's nostalgic, and it just, you know, I just passed on the generation to my kids, and I brought them. These guys did exist. These guys did have this. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I think everybody else bid for it, right? But that was it for me. Yeah.
Okay. Patrick?
In my case, back in 2006, 7, 8, I think what brought me back, if I can say that, was that I took the point of view, like I observed Genesis. For those who are familiar with Genesis, you have two groups. You have the Gabriel era and you have the Collins era. But they coexist. So I thought I can have the same point of view with KISS. I mean, they can coexist. And I came to grips with the fact that most bands go through personnel changes. So I thought, well, it doesn't stop me from loving everything. And the irony is that I think Monster is a great album, unlike many KISS fans. And that comes from someone who's, you know, mainly an originals guy, although I love the Revenge era and Creatures. But, you know, if I would have stayed checked out, I would have missed out on that. Mm-hmm. So, like somebody told me, it's better to have a KISS than no KISS at all. That's what made me say, you know, I'm always going to be a fan. I'm not going to kid myself anymore, no matter what happens.
There you go.
For me, it's like something Patrick said earlier on, you know, KISS was always in his heart. And it's the same thing with me. You know, I remember in the 80s, even though I was checked out, I still went into the record stores and looked at what was new in the KISS catalog. You know, I took notice when I saw a KISS poster somewhere. I remember taking notice when the Creatures was announced at the Montreal Forum. And to this day, I regret not going. But the point being, I was always not interested in the band, but seeking the band out indirectly or unconsciously as well. But again, I needed to go through that change before I could rediscover them again. And it was in 1988, 89, when I heard Hide Your Heart. And I thought, oh my God, what an amazing song. And they had just announced the Hits Tour coming to Montreal, and decided to go to that concert. So I bought myself tickets to it. And then I bought the Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits. And it brought me back to the classic KISS songs. And it brought back a flood of memories of the great times I had with the band, the music. And when I saw that concert, and I mentioned this 1,000 times on previous podcasts or previous shows, when that logo went up, I felt like I was 10 years old again. And, you know, it was at that moment that I realized that KISS was my salvation and not my damnation. And if it wasn't for the band back then, because I cared about nothing and no one, the one thing I cared about was the band. They kept my head above water. If it wasn't for them, I strongly believe I wouldn't be where I am today.
Wow.
I agree with you. I'm the same for me.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
But yes, no, it is unbelievable, man. You know, listening to you guys, how deep is this band in all of us, you know, and it's much more than music. In my case, what brought me back has almost little or nothing to do with the music. It was 2004, and we were planning to move to Canada, okay? And then I remember getting all our stuff together for the move. And I remember going through my collection, which was not that big, but, stuff that I loved, magazines and posters and the records and stuff. And going through all of that, I was thinking to myself, how is it possible that I was kind of distant from this band for the last 4 years? And then, and to me, that was the most precious thing that I wanted to put on my shipping. We were shipping a lot of stuff to Canada from Argentina, and to me, my treasure was my collection, not because of the value, but because of what it meant to me. Right? Yeah. And then also my kids were growing. They were 4 and 5 years old, and that's when I kind of got them into music. And of course, the first records that I put for them, it was KISS. And then that is what brought me back to the band. That was definitely into it, and then kept growing, like it happens to all of us, Yeah.
I think what we're describing is what many fans describe. It's something that's a part of who we are. It comes from the heart. It's more than the music, more than the show. It's something so much more than that for us.
If I can add a footnote on that, I think what enticed me more, I mean, the makeup thing definitely was the catch for me, but I think the first inkling of me coming back full force was I went to the Unplugged at Charles Champlain, and I think that at that time the band was more accessible than it was in the heyday, right? So I found it was more personal. I said, oh wow, maybe they are getting a little bit more accessible, right? Although I did meet them at Rock on Stock in a Lick It Up tour, but it was in and out 5 seconds, right? This actually, they spent a little bit of time with the fans, and it brought back a lot of songs that were played unplugged and that I never played before. And I think that started the whole ball rolling for me.
It was a great day.
Yeah.
So when we were talking about doing this episode, we thought maybe it would be interesting to get some fan comments about their checking out experiences. And I wasn't sure if we were going to get a reaction from people, and I was really happy to see that people responded to this particular topic. And we've got quite a few comments. I want to start with a first comment by David Miller. And he says, I became a KISS fan because of the Paul Lynde Halloween special in 1976. I was 8. I was a rabid fan until Asylum, but that album lost me. My other musical interests leaned to heavier rock at that point. I attended the Crazy Nights tour just to be able to say that I saw KISS. The Revenge album, MTV Unplugged, and 1996 Reunion brought me back. Saw them 4 times since, the OG lineup twice, and Tommy and Eric twice. I'm a longtime fan, and I will die a longtime fan. The band are a major part of my musical journey as both a fan and as a musician. Now, here's another similar quote, similar to David's. This one comes from a former fan profile on this episode, on this show, Eric Mehta, and he says, I checked out a little in 1983 when the makeup came off. I was back as soon as I heard Lick It Up and Animalize. Different, but still a great band. Mm-hmm. Now, this actually brings up an interesting question. So do you think fans were more likely to check out because the makeup came off? Or are they more likely to get into KISS because the makeup came off? Claudio, we'll start with you on this one.
Well, it's that's a tough question because, for the band being let's say around for so long, 50 years, so you have all kinds of fans. You have the original lineup fans. For those guys, I have to say that probably yes. So one of the main reasons to check out was when the band took off the makeup. But there were so many other fans that actually jumped in to start listening to KISS because the makeup was gone. So, but if you give me the choice, actually to be respectful to the question, do you think fans were more likely to check out because the makeup came off? I think yes. I think the answer is yes. It's more that than the opposite. Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay. Craig?
Yeah, I agree 100% with Claudio. I think that different generations of fans. I mean, the makeup for me was it, and I think that that's what the whole question was about. But like you said, it's generational, right? I mean, the other albums without the makeup, I think was more different types of music and brought in different types of fans for sure, because it was a little more radio play. It was a little more. How can I say it? It was less heavy, right? So I definitely agree with Claudio on that one.
Okay. Patrick?
As for myself, I think a lot of fans checked out before they dropped the makeup for Creatures. I think with the, with their deviation into the pop territory is what really, really brought them down. So I think in this case, it wasn't too good for them. Probably the fact that they removed the makeup, it sort of brought more, not bring more fans, but more fans checked out. However, I remember when Animalize came out, they had this sort of minor hit with Heaven's on Fire.
Mm-hmm.
I think at that point it brought back some people saying, good band. Oh yeah, remember those guys, they were wearing makeup and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. So I think in the sense they sort of, even though they had a hard time adapting to the 80s, they sort of had their own little niche. And probably did bring some fans. And also, I think I mentioned in the previous episode, maybe the fact that as time went on, the legend built, with there was a KISS before KISS, the makeup version, etc. So, yeah, I think they brought some new fans, when Heaven's on Fire came out. And yeah.
Ask, what do you think?
That's a tough question because, KISS often says that the 80s was their lean years. Well, if it's their lean years, it means the fans were not there. So it goes to show that, it's possible that the fans left because the makeup came off. But then again, I also agree with Patrick that I think the fans checked out before the makeup came off. I think it started with Dynasty and then Unmasked, and then Elder that's it, the nail in the coffin. And then by the time Creatures came out, I mean, fans weren't interested at that point. So the makeup had to come off if the band were to succeed, but they didn't have the fandom that they did in their heyday.
So now talking about testimonials and opinions from our audience. So here's an interesting one from James Erico, and he says, KISS was my first real favorite band. Discovered them at 6 years old in 1985 on 321 Contact. So saw them for my very first concert in 1990. So my room was peppered with KISS stuff. Couldn't believe I could see them twice with the makeup on in 1996. So then something happened. I checked out for so many reasons. Then it became obvious. The farewell tours, okay? So this is very interesting, the farewell tour. So I never thought of this particular point. So what do you guys think? When a band announces a farewell tour, maybe we all think, fans, we began the process of accepting the fact that the band is coming to an end and start to check out. So I think it's part of a self-defense, mechanism. So you don't want to suffer too much. So you know that these guys are checking out, they're leaving, they're wrapping up. So you stay away from it. So then when the band continues, it may be too late for some fans that they already checked out. So is this a phenomenon that you have observed, Pat?
I'm not sure. It's a really tough one because by the time KISS announced their farewell tours, in 2000. Bands like not the Scorpions, but like the Who, Ozzy had said, "This is our last tour," only to come back later. So I thought yeah, they say it's goodbye or adios or whatever, but do they really mean it? And then the farewell tour ends with like no real official end as they had said, and then whoop, oh, they're gonna do a symphony. Whoop, they're gonna do a tour with Aerosmith. So the farewell tour did not make me check out because I wasn't sure, but at the same time, it was like, okay, this that's how the band ends. That's how it is. So if fans checking out when there's a farewell, I'm not sure. I mean, you still have lots of hardcore Beatles fans out there.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say, really. It's a tough
It
one.
is. It is a tough question.
Yeah.
Craig, what do you think?
Okay, here's my take. I think that a true diehard Kiss fan will never want it to end, right? So a farewell to the farewell to the farewell, I think for them is like, yes, it's continuing. But on the other hand, I think they should have made it a little more clear that it was a farewell of the original four, and not a continuation of Kiss 2.0, whatever case may be. But and I said this before. I said many of the old time bands, like Patrick mentioned the Who. I can mention Rolling Stones. I can mention even Metallica to this day. Is who's going to take over? There's nobody else that's huge that can take over and say, well, you know what? I can hang my boots up and say that, I don't know, Pat's band's going to take over and they're going to take over the world and it's going to, have a new generation of music. There isn't. This is why bands like Ozzy and all those, they got to keep going because they feel a responsibility or a commitment to the music to keep it alive. Because bands don't last 1 or 2 albums nowadays. That's just my opinion. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like I don't see any other super groups.
I so agree with you.
Well, in this case, there's no right or wrong, Craig. I think I have the tendency to say that the four of us will agree with you, and basically we're in the same demographics and age and stuff. But yeah, I agree with you. So somebody has to keep the torch and keep the flame up, and that's an interesting one. About the farewell of the farewell. They keep going, of course. They keep going.
Now the end of the road could be, I don't know, to follow the Yellowbrook Road. I don't know. It's 100 more shows, and maybe they're gonna pay 100 more before they meet the wizard. I don't know.
Right.
But I don't want it to end personally, but if it's damaging to the brand and damaging to the music and they're making fools of themselves, then it hasn't happened, I don't think, as of yet, but I don't want to see that happen either, right? So.
I think this question is a great psychological study because I don't know, when Gene announced another 100 shows, fans are getting upset. Oh, another 100 shows. We should be excited. There's another 100 shows.
Yeah.
We should be excited. There's 200 shows. And then people start calling it the never-ending tour. Well, maybe, but why are we upset that they added another 100 shows? And Claudia, you sort of said it in your question that maybe people are preparing for the end, and it's a defense mechanism, right?
Yeah.
There's a psychological phenomenon called the foot in the door phenomenon. So when you have your foot in the door, you're sort of committed, and it's hard to get out of that commitment. So, for example, when you go to a store and a salesperson says, "Can I help you?" and you say, "Yes, I'm looking for a pair of shoes," you have your foot in the door, and that salesperson knows that you're halfway committed, and they have a better chance of selling you those shoes. Mm-hmm. Now, if you say, no, I'm just looking, they know chances are you're not going to buy, and they're not going to waste their time on you. And I think it's the same thing here. When the band calls a farewell tour, in our heads, we sort of have our foot in the door telling ourselves, I'm going to prepare myself for the end. And then when they don't, it's like, I'm already committed to this idea that it's the end, that I'm moving on. Yeah. And I'm just going to check out. Now, the question is it the casual fan that's susceptible to this phenomenon? Is it the diehard fan? Is it both? I don't know. But I think that's the only explanation I can think of that would explain why somebody would check out because of a farewell tour and then they come back afterwards. Claudia, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, let me just say, Paz, this is a great question, and we're getting deeper and deeper, and we can be talking forever about this. But in my case, 2000 when I checked out, kind of, it coincided with the farewell tour, and because of my love of the original lineup, yeah, true. But I also love the 80s, with different band members. But it was more like it's like when they keep going after a farewell tour, it's like someone is cheating on you. You know what I mean? So you think that this is it, okay? So you put all of your guts there, all your efforts and everything, your investments, and then okay. So that's why maybe are upset now that with the 100 shows and blah blah blah. So you're like, what is this, okay? But in my case, just to come back to the question, I think it had a lot to do with me for checking out during those times, because of the original lineup, and because I also thought that the band had nothing else to offer, and because they ended up in bad terms, I kind of was angry with the band. It was like, what is this? So then I started to explore something different. But after 2-3 years, I came back. But that's interesting. That could be something that fans, could relate to, as a reason for checking out, definitely.
I also understand that a fan may go to a concert and say, this is my last show, and they put everything into it, emotionally, financially, and now they're back. It's like, okay, it's no longer once in a lifetime.
That's right. That's right.
Maybe that's why fans were upset when they included a second KISS cruise, because that was supposed to be their last time on the ship. Not anymore.
Same thing.
You know what I mean? So
Same thing.
I kind of get them. I get the mentality there.
Same thing. Yeah.
All right. So here's another interesting quote, and this one comes from Dave Zihak. I hope I pronounce it properly. So he says that I became a KISS fan when I was 12, and I went to my first concert. It was the Hits tour when I was 14. I haven't checked out of KISS in general, but have checked out of the current lineup, meaning I won't pay to see them live. Also, I don't like Sonic Boom and Monster, except for a few songs. Now, this is an interesting question because Dave may have checked out because of Tommy and Eric, but it begs the question, are fans more likely to check out when there is a major change in the band, such as a lineup change or maybe a change in musical style? Craig, what do you think?
Yeah, I think some people would do that because they have a favorite character in the band that has gone parted ways, and it doesn't stay relevant for them because of those favorite character or whatever. I definitely think there's more than one generation of KISS, and I think some people, if is one part of the original band there, I think will continue. But let's say they replace all four, I don't know if it's going to be the same diehards or whatever. But I definitely think that it's how can I say that? It's a tough one, but for KISS is different for each person. It's their favorite characters, their favorite albums, their favorite set list, their favorite whatever the case may be. I just think that I would think that major lineup changes would be different. I mean, look at Judas Priest, for example, when Robert Halford left and they put that guy from the tribute band in, it wasn't the same. They didn't have the same following. Then when they put him back, well, they regained their popularity. So I think that's what a lot of what KISS did too. They brought back and let other people go to try and boost their popularity.
Okay, Patrick.
Yeah, I think all the bands that go through a major personnel change, it's a gamble because again, you got the people who thought AC/DC wouldn't survive without Bon Scott. Well, they became bigger. Same thing with Genesis, as I mentioned earlier on. So, but like Craig said, I think we all have our own opinion or our own vision of what KISS is. For me, KISS, Gene Ace, Paul, and Peter are like the John, Paul, George, and Ringo. So you don't touch that. Once you start changing the parts, at least with Eric and V, they created new makeup, and then afterwards they dropped it. So it was like, okay, it's a new identity. They're not, toying with the original image. Because, like, for myself, I'm a fan of the original four guys who wore the makeup, but I'm a fan of the guys also. So that's why if you put someone else under the makeup, for me, just my opinion, it's not the same. So,
but it might not be a reason to check out.
Not a reason to check out, no, but to be upset and say, I don't like this, yes.
Okay.
A reason to check out, I don't think so. I think that the one thing that can make people check out is musical change, like they did with Dynasty and Unmasked, which were huge mistakes. I mean, now we appreciate them more because we're older and we understand more where it comes from. But at the same time, for the people who were into the heavier side of KISS, when they heard that, it was like, oh no, KISS is no longer that dangerous band. They become this kiddie band, so bye-bye. So that's more likely to make people check out, for me anyways.
Great point.
Claudio?
Well, on this one, let me just share with you, and I hope you're gonna agree with me. So we're so diehard fans, and we take KISS so in such a personal way that this aspect of loyalty is like we have to be with the band no matter what they do. Okay, to be a true KISS fan, you have to be there all the time, take their mistakes and justify it. But I don't think it has to be that way. I think it's good also to check out once in a while. If you don't like something that the band is doing, or if you don't like any of the members, it's okay. You're still a KISS fan, but you don't have to like everything, right? So then in my case, I think, most of the fans, they might use, I'm included, we use KISS as a safety, a mesh or a safety net. So no matter what happens, KISS is going to be there for me. So then we take everything that they do and we try to find the right excuse to accept it. Again, as I said, if you don't like a specific music style, or if you don't like Tommy versus Ace or Eric versus Peter or Eric, it's also okay to check out, from the band. The problem with KISS is that it's so iconic that every character has a very strong, let's say, impact on what the band does. Because for other bands, sometimes you don't even know who the bass player is. You don't even know if the guitar player is X or Z. And then you go and see the band anyways and you enjoy the music. With KISS, that's really, really tough. That's really tough. So that could be one of the reasons why, people are checking out. I know I have friends who basically do not even listen to the records now or go to the shows because they can't stand Tommy. They're big Ace Frehley's fans, and it's like the band doesn't exist anymore for them because of that. But anyway, to each its own, right?
Yeah.
So I think that a pattern is starting to develop here. I think that fans, especially KISS fans, don't like change. And the minute there's some kind of major change, like in music, in KISS's case, makeup, whatever, they're out because they just can't process that kind of change in their band. And then they check out. But do they check out, or like Claudio says, you kind of alluded to this, Claudio, they don't necessarily check out, but they take a break. And it's okay to take a break from the band. So I think what's happening is when they check out or take that break, what they're doing is they're processing that change. And then they remember the music and the experiences and what the band brought to them. And that sort of brings them back. And then when they come back, they start to see the changes that happened in the band and they appreciate it more. Like Patrick was saying, when The Elder came out or Unmasked, it was too much of a change. We're out, But then when we get back into the band 10 years later, we look back and go, hey, wait a minute, this is not so bad. Elder's one of my favorite albums. It's pretty good. You know, we tend to appreciate those changes more. So I think when a fan checks out and then checks back in again, they become a bigger and stronger fan because it becomes more of who they are. So really interesting. But the second point I want to make is what Craig was saying, is that for some people, KISS isn't KISS in general. It's Paul, Peter, Ace, or Gene. You know, for them, it's all Ace or all Gene or whatever.
Yeah.
So when that member leaves, they follow that member and they don't see it as KISS. And you know, people are talking about KISS 2.0. For me, KISS is always and always will be Paul and Gene. That's why I've always been loyal to the band. I understand people leaving for Peter and Ace. I would leave if Paul and Gene or Gene left. So if they have a 2.0 and Paul and Gene are not there, I'm out. I'm out because that's what KISS is. Yeah. And for some people, KISS is Peter and Ace. So I totally understand that train of thought.
It's like Prada was saying before, is that with AC/DC or another band, KISS is 4 characters to me. Everybody has a favorite character.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think I can even name who the drummer or who the rhythm guitarist is for AC/DC. All I'm thinking about is Angus Young and
that's right. Yeah.
And the singer. Oh, I can't remember.
Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson.
That's it. Brian Johnson. See, I like the Bon Scott years. So you know, but that's the whole thing, right? It's your favorite guy that keeps it as a whole.
Yeah, it is very strong. But you know, and also with KISS, you know, they're so smart. And I'm not saying this in a negative way, just the opposite. But you'll see, Pascal, you're saying I'm checking out with KISS 2.0. I've heard many fans that they could not even think about this idea of KISS 2.0. Now, as they're sending the message all the time, Paul and Gene, saying, you know, the attitude is going to be there. This is more than a band, you know, blah, 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 blah. You're going to see there's going to be a lot of people following up the KISS 2.0, even though maybe Paul and Gene are not going to be there. I don't know, man. They always find a way to justify and get the right excuse to get people in. I don't know.
That's very well put.
Yeah, but it won't be KISS, though. I mean, I think KISS is going to continue, not as a touring entity, but as a marketing entity. We're going to continue getting KISS merch over and over and over. That's never going to end. And I think KISS 2.0 is basically a tribute band. There's other tribute band that we're getting. But that I'm going to see KISS now? No. I'm going to see a KISS tribute band, no different than KISS or Mr. Speed.
Right.
Or call it the KISS experience, something like that.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great one, yeah. And if that fails, don't kid yourself. Gene or Paul make a special guest appearance and make it popular again.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good one. That's true. Hey, look, if we continue with the comments, this is a good way to close this section of the fan comment portion. Listen to this, guy. So Matt Porter, our friend of the KISS room, he says, I've never checked out. Then Robert Myers of the Right Between the Eyes podcast, he says, have been here since 1989 and have never looked back. Brian B says never since 1978. And finally, Laurie Birnbaum says never checked out, stood by through member musical changes, passings, never wavered since fall 1977. So we often hear talk of what is considered an ultimate KISS fan. Can this be it? So that's what it means, to be a KISS fan. It means to never check out. Is a fan's loyalty to the band without checking out no matter what considered the ultimate KISS fan? Pascal, you go first with this one, but
that's a loaded question, because we're saying people who have the bigger KISS collection as a bigger fan, people have seen it more often in concert as a bigger fan. No, of course not. So now we're arguing that people who have never checked out is the bigger fan? I don't think so. Because again, Claudio, what you said, I never thought of it. It makes sense. It's okay to check out. It's okay to take a break. And oftentimes when we take a break, we're going to come back. And yes, the Matt Porters and Robert Myers out there who have never checked out, it doesn't make them more of a fan than any of us, because we've all checked out for whatever reason. We have our reasons to check out, but I don't think it makes them any more of a fan than us, and vice versa. We are KISS fans for different reasons. And I think we are KISS fans because, I don't know, the pattern is that it's an emotional connection to the band.
Right.
And you cannot quantify an emotion and says, my emotion is better, stronger, or superior to yours. We are KISS fans, period.
Well said. Pat?
I pretty much agree with Pascal on this one. We're all equal. Like, it doesn't matter who has the biggest collection. I mean, there are fans who write books, self-published books. They're hardcore fans of this, just like us. You have someone who's willing to do like a podcast, like you guys. So everybody is equal. We all have our own way of being a fan, and that's what makes it special. So if someone who never checked out, does that make them a bigger fan? No, it's all equal.
Good.
Because again, we can prefer, someone who is crazy about the album Crazy Nights, I can consider them a huge fan just as I am. Doesn't mean I don't like the Crazy Nights period, but it doesn't mean that, I'm right to prefer the Love Gun era. To each his own. And I think that's what makes it interesting. That we all have our points of views, and they're all valid in my opinion. So there's no better fan than the other.
Right.
No.
Okay. Cool. Craig?
Yeah, I think it's all about level of dedication to the band and to the music. I think also that it's okay to go away and to experiment other things, as long as you still keep ties with the band and you still buy their albums and still support them in a smaller way. And I think, I've done it before where I've gone away and then I've gone to see a KISS show just for saying I'm going. And then I hear that you wanted the best, you got the best. I get the chills. I got goosebumps, and it's like, I'm sold again.
That's right.
That's it for me.
Yeah. That's what happens, man. It's so deep, it's part of your DNA, and then there's no denial. There's no denial. Look, I'm with you guys. I'm on the same boat. To me, there shouldn't be such a thing as the KISS fan meter, right?
Yeah.
How to measure, that to me, that actually removes all the beauty of being a KISS fan. The minute you start competing with your mates, with your friends, and no, that to me, that's, look, if there's people who never checked out, good for them. That's great. It's so great that you like everything, and if it's a matter of, look, as Paz was saying, it has a lot to do with the psychology and with this safety net that we all need, right? So if you have to be attached to the band, no matter what they do, no matter what the changes, no matter what the music they do, it's good, man. If that's what makes you happy, that's what saves you, or whatever, it's fine. It's fine. But if there's people who checked out, that doesn't make them less KISS fan than others. Yeah. Not at all.
Okay, so now we're going to focus on the final part of this episode, and we're going to sort of generalize, summarize what we've been talking about, put a neat little bow on this checking out phenomenon. So, do you think that there are moments in history where fans are more likely to check out? So let's make this interesting. In your opinion, what would be the top 5 moments where KISS fans were most likely to check out? Craig, what do you think?
Okay, so the first one for sure for me is taking the makeup off. That was one of the reasons why people would check out, I believe. Second one would be the musical direction, taking Elder, Unmasked era, Dynasty era. The glam in the 80s. I think that the way they dressed, the way they acted, it went from like mean black and white and silver to I don't know, something Celine Dion would wear, like a sequence and stuff. It's like a total like what WTF, like personnel changes. I think definitely has a big player in there, and personnel bringing back. There is those Tommy and Eric fans out there saying, "Well, why did they bring him back?" Tommy and Eric are better musicians. There's that way too, right? And I think one of the biggest ones is the endless farewell tours, the band direction, and people still think that it's gouging. It's okay. We have to make more money on this. Another 100 shows, and then Gene will say the next day, "Well, I can't do this anymore."
Right.
So what is the real thing there? Gouging for me is not there because I'll buy it anyway. But I'm just saying, people's perception, right? So that would be it for me.
Okay, nice. Patrick?
To me, the first major reason for fans to check it out was when KISS went disco. I mean, the huge mistake. Mistake for those who don't like disco, let's put it that way. So I think that was the first major reason for fans for checking out. Also, I think when Crazy Nights came out, KISS fans listening to that album going, okay, they're trying to be hard now. That is not too good. Also, putting the makeup on someone else. That I think could have been a major disappointment for fans. What else? Also, I think maybe over merchandising at first. They were seen as a kiddie band. Now, which is funny because now most bands do it because it's another revenue for them. But back then they were ridiculed for doing it. And now you see Metallica dolls or Motley Crue dolls or whatnot. And the last thing I think, maybe personnel changes. Some were good, some were not that good. So that can be a major turning point for some people. So, I think those are the main reasons why some people may want to check out.
Awesome. Okay, Claudia?
Well, it's going to be hard because there's going to be a lot of repetition here. So what Pat and Craig mentioned, it's basically it. To me, when they went disco, in some parts of the world, and I continue to say that maybe it was in North America, but in some other, places, it opened up a new market, like Australia and South America. But definitely, when they went pop, checked out. When they took the makeup off, checked out there for some people. The 80s, the glam era, that too. When the farewell tour, when the reunion was over, I think that was another milestone for people checking out. And I have to say that from people that I know that are not big KISS fans, but basically they laugh at KISS. It's sometimes when Gene speaks up, when he goes to the media and he says something that has absolutely nothing to do with KISS, criticizing, whoever, what he said about Prince, what he said about Rock is Dead and the horns and all of that, that doesn't help. There's many people who actually, if they were ever interested into KISS, after listening to some of those things from Gene, they will never listen to KISS, And then I have to say that the last one, which hurts the most to me, it's the original four, bashing each other, when they kind of attack using the media just to I don't know if I should use the word promotion, but just to keep the KISS name on the media, bashing Peter and Ace and this thing about the last show and blah blah blah. To me, that's a big checkout point, for fans, casual fans or big fans. After a while you get tired. And maybe I'm going to add another one because it's longevity. After 50 years, well, some people, they check out, they get tired. You can name it on, you can blame it on the set list. Why should I spend money? Why should I go to see the band if they play the same thing over and over again? That could be another reason for checking out.
Okay, good point.
Yeah, all good answers, guys. All good answers. Now, to quote Britney Spears, "Oops, I did it again," or more appropriately, "Oops, I didn't do it again." Guys, you got to stop me from giving assignments because I don't do them. Okay.
Again, not again. Okay, let me explain this one. You guys, and I'm glad I didn't, because you guys gave 15 fantastic reasons, and a lot of them overlapped of why people were tend to check out. Now, here's my point of view. So if you're going to check out, that means that you were all in. Now, a casual fan would never check out, or cannot by definition check out. It's a casual fan.
Right. They happen to be there a little bit here, a little bit there, whatever. It's the diehards that check out because that's what they're all in. So my argument is that it's the diehards, and I think this is a summary of everything we've talked about on this episode. This is about the diehards. It's the diehards that check out, and they check out for all the reasons that you guys are outlining. Because to them, KISS is a certain thing, and they don't want change in that certain thing. And for the diehards, when that certain thing changes, they're going to check out. When the makeup came off, when the music changed, when the personnel changed, when the makeup went on to somebody else, I get why the diehards would check out because of that. So I think that who is more likely to check out? The diehards. I think that's what this whole episode is really about. Yeah. It's about the diehard fans. And I'm going to conclude by saying that we never truly check out. We think we do, but we don't, because KISS is always going to be in our hearts. We always going to look back to the memories of what KISS brought us. We're always going to notice whenever we see something KISS or something KISS related in the media or whatever. We'll always pay attention to it. It's like a drug. It's always going to be with us. And I think, those fans that check out or have checked out or are thinking of checking out, when the band gets to the end of the road, we're going to realize what we've missed, and we're going to wish they did another 100 shows, another 200 shows, and nothing, not the makeup, not the music change, not the personnel change, none of it will matter, because all we want is the band back. Yeah. And it's going to be unfortunate that it will take the band leaving the scene for, I think, KISS fans to realize that, but we are going to realize it.
Yeah, true. So, guys, let's close the show with one final question, and this one is related to what James Errico said about checking out because of the farewell tours. So, do you believe fans will most likely check out at the end of the road? Pat?
No, I don't see why they would do it, because you love the band. I think it's for life, and nothing stops you from enjoying the videos, your collection, or the books. Again, I bring the Beatles up. They broke up in '69, and I'm sure to this very day you have some very, very loyal fans from way back when. They still love it. So why shouldn't we? I don't see the reason to check out. Of course, it's going to be the end of something, but nothing prevents you from still liking the band. You can once in a while put that record on and enjoy it for what it is. Watch the videos or watch the different shows. I mean, they keep coming out with some great stuff. The name is still alive, and the flame is still alive in our heart. As for myself, I don't see any reason to check out at this point.
What about you, Craig?
No, I think we're always going to crave Kiss related stuff. I mean, whether it be Kiss cruises, Kiss in Vegas, more Kissologies, like Pat was saying, more stuff that's being released on video, or I think we can still relate that the majority of Kiss fans will still crave stuff, and I'm pretty sure that the merchandising machine will still be turning and pumping out stuff just to keep it relevant, right? I'm pretty sure about that.
Mm-hmm. Ask.
I think the KISS brand is going to lose fans, but I think they're going to lose the casual fan. I think the diehards are going to continue to love KISS, and I think it'll be the diehards that will continue to keep the name of KISS alive. Even with the merchandising and all of that we're still going to get, I'm sure of it. I think it's more than that. I think that it'll come to a point where even if you look at podcasts, it'll be interesting where podcasting goes after the end of the road. What topics are we going to discuss? And I am telling you right now that people are going to get guests. We're going to have topics about our experiences, what we felt, what it brought to us. And that's what it's going to be about for the diehard fans. And with those fans alive, the name of KISS and the memory of KISS, the spirit of KISS will never die. Now, will it generate new fans? I don't know. Will the memory of KISS die when the diehards go? I don't know. Like Patrick said, listen, after all these years, the Beatles, the memory of the Beatles and their music is still strong. I'd like to believe it'll be the same thing with KISS, because KISS, like the Beatles, it's not just another band. It's something special. And I think that something special is going to endure for years to come.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, I think you wrapped it up, the best possible way, Pask. Yeah, I agree with you. It's, I don't think the end of the road, will kind of make fans check out or anything like that. It's look at us. So we're doing this podcast, which is amazing. We're having a blast. I'm so happy that I was asked by Pask, to join this fantastic, project with him. And I never thought at 53 I was going to be doing this. I'm now, deeper into KISS than ever before. And even though the band is kind of in the end, look, I think it's going to still, keep strong, because of us, because of what these guys created, which is a KISS Nation. In fact, this is what it is. And I think that what the band is doing, releasing all the stuff, that's a good sign. So that we're going to see a lot of stuff coming out through the band or through the fans, because some of the fan created projects are amazing, and that's what's going to keep the band alive. And I agree with Pask. I don't want to repeat what he said, but generating new fans. Well, KISS is a live band. Okay, that's what brings fans into the band, to see them live. If they don't tour anymore, well, I think it's gonna stay with the diehard. I don't think they're gonna create new fans. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think it's for the diehards to mold young minds to continue the flame.
Yeah.
The fathers and mothers with their brothers and sisters and daughters and sons. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, guys, in closing, thanks again for being on the show. Again, it was so much fun. But I got to tell you, I found today's episode a little bit extra fun because we've never done a live show, but I love that we incorporated fan comments on this episode. I feel like those fans that participated are part of the show. Yeah, and I hope to see more of that.
Yeah.
Craig, closing remarks?
Nothing. I guess since the arrival of Creatures box set, I guess we won't get that off the soundboard show we were thinking we were going to get, unless they release it in multi formats. Maybe, I don't know. But I'm looking forward to a lot of new stuff coming out. hopefully maybe getting to another show or two in the coming months, or if they extend that tour. It's never enough for me.
I hear you. Patrick, closing remarks?
Yeah, I'm with Craig on that. I mean, like some people complain, oh, they're rehashing some stuff, like the Love Gun stuff. And you know what? I want that stuff. When I see all that stuff on KISS Online, it's like, yeah, it brings me back to my childhood. So yes, I want to see, like I'm told maybe there's going to be some like new merchandise release. Like, I love that, so I want that. It keeps the flame alive. Yeah. And as we said earlier, I think that's KISS is going to stay forever in one form or another.
Mm-hmm. And last word goes to you, Claudio.
Well, thank you. Well, this has been great. I also think what you just said, Pascal, it was extra special. It's always special to have, Pat and Craig, discussing, because each one of us, we give a different perspective and personal stuff, which is what I love. So it's been great, guys. And again, it is a good time to be a KISS fan. And I'm with you, Pat. People who complain of rehashing stuff from the past, okay, don't buy it, but give it to me. I'll buy it. I love it.
I'm with you.
Absolutely. So guys, once again, thank you so much. And thank you so much to the KISS Army who submitted their comments for the show. And if you want to get involved with the KISS Army Nation podcast, send us your comments, questions, or ideas to talk to me at kissarmynationpodcast.com. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and remember, never stop rocking. Take care, everyone. If you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe on YouTube, or follow us on Spotify, Automatic, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to make yourself heard. Leave us a comment on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. See you all soon, KISS Army.